Former Ubisoft executives reportedly arrested over sexual misconduct allegations. 5 people said to have been detained by police, including some of its most senior ex-creatives. Jesus, dude. 5 former Ubi employees have reportedly been detained by French police investigating allegations of sexual assault and harassment at the company, according to Liberation. 3 ex-employees were placed in police custody on Tuesday, and another 2 were arrested today. Among those detained are former Chief Creative Officer Sergei Haskoe. I probably butchered that. Sorry, but who oversaw all the company's games as head of its influential editorial team before resigning in July 2020 after a significant number of accusations were made against him. Also taken into custody was Haskoe's right-hand man, Tommy Francois, who was vice president of editorial and creative services prior to his departure in August of 2020, following accusations of sexual misconduct as well. The arrests follow complaints filed simultaneously in the summer of 2021 by the French trade union Solidaire Informatique and 2 victims on their own behalf. Following the complaints, judicial police reportedly collected testimonies from around 50 current and former Ubisoft employees during a year-long investigation. In October of 2021, an anonymous survey of almost 14,000 Ubisoft employees found that 20% of respondents didn't feel fully respected or safe in the work environment. Jesus. And that 25% had witnessed or experienced workplace misconduct over the past 2 years. God dang, dude. This is Sergey right here. Study was conducted by a third-party research firm in the wake of allegations of sexual harassment, sexism, and racism that summer. Aside from Haskoe and Francois, other senior Ubisoft figures who stepped down or were fired in the wake of the allegations include Canadian Studios MD Giannis Mallet, global head of HR Cecile Cornet, veteran creative director Maxime Beland, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla creative director Ashraf Ismail. Jesus, dude. It's bad news. Look, here's the thing. We've seen it happen with other companies too, right? And look, we knew there was some bad stuff that had happened at Ubisoft for a while. We knew that back in like 2021, we had started hearing a lot of reports come out about some bad sexual harassment stuff, sexual misconduct, a lot of bad culture stuff, mismanagement going on at Ubi, right? And I think that's why it's important. We've seen it happen with a lot of companies, you know, Blizzard. There are a lot of companies where people get put in positions of power, and it turns into a corrupt system of mismanagement, bad culture, you name it. You know, it's like the power goes to their head. They feel like they can get away with whatever they want. And luckily, more often than not, I think that, you know, it ends up, I think it'll always end up catching up to people, you know. If I hate that it takes too long most of the time, but that's why it's important, I think, that businesses promote the right kind of culture from the get-go, and they have, you know, processes in place to always gauge and to gauge the atmosphere, to gauge how people are feeling about the workplace, as well as being very open about what's going on in the business, and having a like core standards about for a business about the way they treat each other, and you know, how the workplace should be conducted with ethical and moral values and things like that. You know, because we've seen it happen all too often. Yeah. And whether it be things like sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, crunch culture, I mean, you name it, do we see it in this industry all the time? And this isn't the only industry it happens in, man. It happens in all kinds of other businesses and industries. And here's the thing: we talk about this a lot, which is why this community is not this. The reason this community is the way it is because I wanted a wholesome place for us to be a part of, right? And that's why it is the way it is. And the people that hang out here all the time that are a part of it, you guys are the ones that make it happen. All I've done is laid the groundwork, right? But it's this notion of you get a few bad seeds, right, in some positions of power. It's very easy for that to really turn into a snowball effect, where they influence other people to feel like they can get away with and do things, and that's the way things should be done. Other people feel like they're afraid to not do those things for what the repercussions might be, or they're afraid to say anything because they're afraid of the repercussions, until it becomes so rampant and widespread that it's inevitable it comes out. Thank God, you know, because that's basically what this had become. We've seen it a lot. It's terrible. But I think that that's why it's important for a lot of these businesses to have really good, ethical, and morally grounded people to be placed in their positions of power, to ensure that things don't get out of line. You know, it's not easy. Yeah, I make it sound easy. It's not easy. It really isn't. It doesn't. You know, the whole saying. You know, it doesn't take very much bad to spoil the rest. You know what I mean? A few bad seeds in there can really wreck the entire environment really quick, and it's hard to build back that entire morale and build a solid healthy culture in a workplace again. When it gets destroyed, it can get destroyed very quick. It can get toxic very fast, and it doesn't take very many people to make that happen. And to build it back the right way, and even in the first place, is not necessarily a real easy thing to do, but it's the right thing, and that's the way it needs to be. And it sucks to see this kind of thing happen, you know. Unfortunately, it's also not a rare thing for us to see either.